Hi, in today's module, we will review an introduction to understanding the layers of diversity. My name is Gino Perrotte, and I will be leading you through this module. I am the owner and founder of Right Brain Journeys, which is dedicated to helping you unlock your creative potential and engage your right brain soft skills. Diversity is a popular word today. You see it on television, you hear about it on the radio, and you experience it in your daily life. But what exactly is diversity? Often one thinks about visual aspects, another person's skin color or facial features that display differences from our own. Perhaps an image similar to the variety of people in this photograph is what you've envisioned. Or maybe you think of something similar to the different colored pencils on the first slide of this module, displaying similarities and differences side by side. However, there are many more aspects of diversity that you may not have considered. So, why should we study diversity? Keep in mind that the concept of diversity is so broad that it can be difficult to recognize the many ways that we are both different from and the same as those around us. Studying diversity allows us to see these differences and similarities more easily. In this module, I will introduce you to the 3 layers of diversity. By the end, you will have a better understanding of the diversity that surrounds you every day at home, work, and the world beyond. In detail, we will examine cultural, demographic, and individual diversity. In their book, Between One and Many, The Art and Science of Public Speaking, Bryden and Scott organized diversity into 3 main categories. I've been teaching and studying about diversity for several years now, and after reviewing many different types of educational resources, I believe the best way to think about these categories of diversity is to imagine 3 layers similar to that of an onion, as you see pictured here in bronze, silver, and gold colors. The outermost layer is cultural diversity, which influences the other 2 contained within. Second is demographic diversity, which describes shared categories that transcend cultural elements. Finally, at the very core is individual diversity, those elements that make us uniquely ourselves, influenced by, but not bound by, our demographic and cultural diversity. Let's look at each of these layers in more detail. According to Dutch management researcher Geert Hofstede, there are 6 dimensions that describe the values that cultures have. These dimensions are long-term versus short-term orientation, collectivism versus individualism, femininity versus masculinity, indulgence versus restraint, uncertainty avoidance, and power distance. People are often highly influenced by the culture in which they grew up. Therefore, it is important to recognize how these 6 dimensions provide the foundation for diversity between people. Let's look at long-term versus short-term orientation. Cultures with a long-term orientation encourage their members to be thrifty, to save their money, to persevere with a goal until they achieve the desired results, and to deny oneself in support of a larger purpose. Short-term orientation cultures instead spend to keep up with other members of the culture, save less money, prefer quick results to perseverance, and take a great deal of pride in maintaining a good impression. Collectivism versus individualism. Individualism is characterized by looser social attachments. Members of individualistic cultures focus on their own accomplishments and believe that they have the inherent right to live their life the way that they want to. Collectivism describes a culture with the opposite orientation. Collectivistic cultures put aside individual desires in order to support the group's goals and welfare. Next, masculinity and femininity. They refer to cultures as a whole, not just the men and women within those cultures. Masculine cultures value traits like assertiveness, competition, and materialism. These cultures tend to have rigid gender roles. Feminine cultures value relationships, quality of life, and nurturing. Now, on the website geert-hofstede.com, the newest dimension, published in 2010, is indulgence versus restraint. This is described on the website as, quote, indulgence stands for a society that allows relatively free gratification of basic and natural human drives related to enjoying life and having fun. Restraint stands for a society that suppresses gratification of needs and regulates it by means of strict social norms. End quote. Next, uncertainty avoidance is characterized by the degree to which the members of a culture fear unknown situations. Are you a risk taker? If so, then you are probably from a low uncertainty avoidance culture. If you are a member of a high uncertainty avoidance culture, then your society probably has more written rules and strict cultural codes of behavioral conduct. The final dimension is power distance. This refers to how a culture views inequalities in society. Does the culture accept that some people are born to be leaders and others followers? Or does the culture expect equality for its members? Power is decentralized in low power distance cultures, and power, wealth, and prestige are accessible to various members of the society. For more information about Hofstede's cultural dimensions, visit his website listed here, geert-hofstede.com. Here, you will find more definitions and be able to search by country to see where it ranks compared to the others on the 6 cultural dimensions. Next, let's examine the second layer of diversity, demographic variables. Socioeconomic status groups people according to social grouping and economic status. This element can describe the types of life opportunities that people in the various groupings may have access to. Occupation refers to the type of work that people do for a living. You might think of the differences between blue-collar and white-collar jobs as an example. Gender refers to the traits and ways of behaving that a particular culture teaches and expects of men and women. It is taught, learned, and performed, not automatically connected with biological sex. Gender is always influenced by culture and time periods. Gender categories include masculine, feminine, or androgynous, a blending of the desirable characteristics of masculinity and femininity. Sex refers to whether someone is born on or acts upon being female, male, intersex, or transsexual. Since female and male are the most popularly known categories, I will focus instead on describing the other two that are not as well understood. An intersex individual is born with characteristics of both the female and male sexes. Some of the characteristics may not be completely formed. Some intersex individuals may choose to have surgery while others may not. A transsexual person takes on the physical, behavioral characteristics, and social identity of the other sex. A transsexual person will live as a member of that other sex. Sexual orientation describes sexual attraction. Heterosexual people find members of the other sex attractive. Homosexual people are interested in members of their own sex. Bisexual people find both men and women sexually attractive. And asexual people are characterized by a general lack of interest in sex. Geographic origin describes the area of the world where someone is from. The person can be considered a citizen of the nation. This is an important element because it recognizes that people can experience life differently when they are from various areas of the world. Language is an element that transcends some of the other demographic features we have been discussing so far. For example, native speakers of the English language may be from the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, or Australia, just to name a few places. Familial status is a term that I became very familiar with while working in the real estate industry. Familial status is a protected class under the Federal Fair Housing Law and describes the composition of your household, such as single, married, or children in the home. The Federal Fair Housing Law specifically refers to the presence of minors, individuals under the age of 18, in the household. Ethnicity and race are similar yet still very different. Race is often thought of in terms of being black or white. It tends to be mutually exclusive. You can only be one race, and others often get to tell you what race you belong to. For example, people would describe my race as white. Ethnicity, on the other hand, is often thought of as being associated with culture. You can be multiple ethnicities at the same time, and you get to tell others what your ethnicities are. My known ethnicities are Italian, Irish, German, and Swedish. Disabilities can be described as physical, mental, or emotional. It is important to note that a disability may or may not be handicapping. The environment often determines if a disability presents a handicap. For example, a person in a wheelchair has a handicap when confronted with a staircase. However, if there is a ramp present, the same person is no longer handicapped in this environment. Religion describes a person's belief system. It guides morals and values, among other things. There are many religions practiced around the world. Some of the most common ones are Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism. Age, of course, is a count of how many years someone has been alive. It is often popularly categorized into generations that share similar experiences, thought processes, and behavior. Think of the term baby boomers, born around 1946 to about 1964, Generation X, born around 1965 to about 1980, and the more current millennials, 1981 to about 2000. Surprisingly, research indicates that you are very likely to be similar to those in your age range or generation in a variety of ways. The last layer at the core of understanding this concept is individual diversity. Expectations refer to the way you think something should be or operate. They can easily differ from person to person. Expectations for ourselves and others can shift throughout our lifetime. Knowledge considers what those around you may know in comparison to you. We all vary in the knowledge we have on various topics, since knowledge is often informed by experience, and experiences are widely different as they are influenced by the many intersecting elements of diversity explained in this module. Attitudes are how you consistently respond, often either positively or negatively, towards someone or something. Attitudes are learned and often informed by our experiences. Motives refer to what drives you. Your motivation in life may be very different or similar to other people around you. Whatever motivates you is unique. It is your own individual motivation. Beliefs are statements you hold to be true about something or someone. As you probably already know, people may hold different beliefs than you. Each person's unique character, personality, and life experiences can influence their beliefs. Values are at the very core of what we believe is right and wrong. Values often develop at a young age and can be very difficult to change over the course of a lifetime. Needs are what we work to fulfill, from the most basic and fundamental necessary to sustain life to the ones that bring happiness and well-being. Needs can be physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. Needs usually build upon one another as described by Maslow in his well-known hierarchy of needs. According to Maslow, you must meet your basic physical needs before you can meet certain intellectual or self-actualization needs. For more detailed explanations about the layers of diversity, contact me at Gino@rightbrainjourneys.com and check out these helpful references which have informed and expressed my own understanding of diversity. The information presented in this module has introduced you to the concept of diversity, categorized by 3 layers: cultural, demographic, and individual. Now that you have a better understanding of diversity, how can you move towards creating more inclusive, and nurturing environments of acceptance, access, and respect? To help answer this question, continue to educate yourself about diversity and engage in constructive conversations on the topic. I offer workshops and seminars on a variety of communication-related subjects, including diversity. For more information and to bring a workshop or seminar to your workplace, contact me at gino@rightbrainjourneys.com and visit the website at www.rightbrainjourneys.com. Thanks for watching.